Hello everyone, welcome to the second recording, the Flipped Collaborate for A2 essay. So I just finished our discussion, understanding the assignment, understanding the essay and exactly what you have to research and discuss. So hopefully you've got it really clear in your mind. You're going to research 2 learning modes and 2 theories and tell us how they inform the work of teachers. So you're going to head off, you're going to complete the unit readings, read ahead. So if you've decided on your theories, you can skip ahead to those weeks, complete the, look at the learning materials, complete the readings, and then you're going to launch into your own research. Then what are you going to do? You're going to start to write. So just because we've come from A1 where you might have used first person writing, I thought it might be helpful to discuss how to actually write this assignment. So just reminding you, in A1 you might have done first person. I think that, I found that. We're moving into third person as an academic essay. So there's details there if you're interested. So in order to start the writing process, we have to know what we're going to write. So it might be that you've looked at the assignment details, you've listened to the first flipped collaborate, and you feel like you've got this and you're off. Please go for it. If you feel like you've got a really good understanding of the assignment, go for it. The essay has lots of interesting topics to choose from. If you're someone who maybe hasn't done an essay for a little while, or you're thinking, oh gosh, it's a bit wordy, I'm looking at the criteria and the descriptors and I'm not really sure how to use my headings, remember that we are an essay, but we are encouraged to use headings in our assignment details. So if you'd like a little bit more support, our ELA team have been wonderful and helped us out by creating some plans. So these have been created looking at the assignment details, the criteria and the descriptors, and they're one way for you to approach this assignment. It's definitely not the only way to do it. It's just one way to do it. So sometimes it's helpful to see how one person might approach this, and you can say, oh yes, I've done that in a different way in my own format, not a problem. Off you go. If you would like a little bit more structure and support to create your discussion, your points, your argument in your essay, this might be helpful to you. So this is the generic one. So you can see we've gone through each element that would be good to include in your essay, and then also an example of the type of word count that you might attribute to that. So of course that's not strict in any sense. It just might be helpful for you to see where you need to spend more of your time delving into the criteria and the descriptors. So this is the generic one here, and what we've done is we've actually highlighted how you can do this for each of the 3 topics. So you'll remember in my first flipped collab I had some nice colors. So if you chose recommended option number 1 was blue, this is the little icon that you saw. And I'll just talk through the first one here. So your learning mode of problem solving, which links to humanism, you're going to discuss alongside the learning mode motivation, which aligns with the theory of behaviorism. So here we go. So for your introduction, remembering that usually in academic essays, your introduction plus your conclusion is usually about 10% of your word count. So you want to introduce your topic nicely to your reader, explain some concepts to your audience, and you're also going to tie everything together and give some recommendations at the end. So those 2 together will be about 10% of your work. Okay, and then we've got some headings that we've found have worked in the past. So the practice of teaching, the learning mode, the first learning mode and the theory, the second learning mode and theory, and then a general discussion about the place of theory. So here in 200 words, we're recommending that you discuss the wider educational context. So looking at our assignment details, it includes this. It talks about the theoretical, societal and educational contexts that influence teaching and learning. Again, what does that mean? I have lots of students email. What does that mean? I really like to break things down so my brain can understand things. So for this, what you're going to do is look at the wider context. So let's pop over to tip sheet number 2. I've got some examples here. So you're going to follow your plan or our plan, whichever plan works for you. And again, this is one way that you can approach writing your assignment. So there's some language here just to help you feel confident to begin writing. Please don't have your essay filled with these. They're just to prompt you and get you going. So when you start your essay, you're going to start with an opening statement. We've sort of moved on from school and we don't really get too motivated and excited by this essay will outline 2 learning modes and 2 theories. Let's open and hook our audience and have a really exciting opening statement. So you might have a statement. It says here, a statement that establishes the direction of the discussion to come. So you might talk about the topic, deciding on the most appropriate learning theories, has long been debated by educators, with a reference. You might have a quote, meeting the needs of students is both a science and an art. So have a really good hook to engage your audience that is on topic. In your introduction, you're also going to establish your main argument. So we are a descriptive essay, but all essays have an argument. So somewhere in there, you're going to formulate your main argument. An example might be understanding learning modes and the theories assists educators to. So what does it assist educators to do? Does it assist them to provide and present best practice, to support the diversity of learners in their classroom, to meet the needs of their students? What does it help educators to do? How does it assist? So this is your main argument. You're going to include your specific points. So you really don't have the time and the space to discuss every point you're going to do. So it's going to be quite generic. But tell us what points you're going to cover. If you're going to cover a number of benefits and limitations on theory, you can tell us that. If you're going to tell us, show us some examples of what learning modes look like in the learning environment, tell us that. And also, I also have this heading here, which is the practice of teaching. So under the practice of teaching, I've popped here, define and explain teaching and learning. And often students ask me, why is that in there? I don't see it in the assignment details. I've just found that if you're going to spend 2,000 words discussing any topic, it's a really good idea to know with confidence that your audience understands exactly what you're talking about. So 2 terms that are pretty key to this assignment are teaching and learning. So I think it would be a good use of your word count to define them. So find some academic definitions. So tell us what teaching is and tell us what learning is. Remember that you're going to cite everything that you've used from others' work. And then down here, this is where we were heading to. Discuss the theoretical, societal, and educational context of teaching and learning. What does that mean? Okay, so really there are so many different elements that you could include here. I've just popped some here and they might help you come up with your own ideas. You're welcome to use these as well. So what is the theoretical context of education? So I've popped here, there are many theories that educators can align with. We know there's not one theory, there's many theories, and which are appropriate to use and when. Can you wake up as a teacher and say, today I'm going to engage in humanism and behaviorism? We know it's not like that. In the classroom, you'll be presented with your students and your children, and every minute of every day you're deciding which are the best approaches, strategies, theories to use to support your students and their learning, and it changes all the time. So we know that there are many theories that educators can align with at any point in time, and they are dynamic. The societal context. So we know that we live in Australia. How lucky are we? We have such a diversity of people, of backgrounds, of cultures, of needs. So we meet the needs of a wide diversity of students and families within any given community. Families, one family to the next, can look completely different. Big families, small families. We have ones from different cultures, different languages, different backgrounds, different abilities. And guess what? As teachers, we meet all the needs of everyone, including their families, in our class. So that's a little bit about the societal context. So it's the diversity and educational context. So we're talking about we live in Australia and we are future teaching students. And what kind of a context will we be teaching in? So in the typical learning environment in Australia, there will be a group. So it's very rarely one-on-one. Most students group, they attend a group, a class. There might be 20 to 30 students. There might be an educator, possibly a second one, but we know that that students, they learn and they grow and they attend the learning environment, and it's a group environment. So you might mention that. So students typically learn in a group environment. They include peers, and again, it's dynamic. So now I've gone through the theoretical, societal, and educational context of teaching, and these are just some prompts that might help you so you can have a launching pad to actually write your own essay. So I've got some sentence openers for your main discussion points. So tell us, this is the learning mode of problem solving, or tell us what problem solving focuses on. Tell us what it's understood to be. Tell us what it promotes. So this learning theory, so you've chosen a learning theory, behaviorism, and what does it promote? So it might promote engagement in students. It might promote motivation. It might promote communication, social skills. So tell us what they promote. And tell us about the main principles, how they work. So I've hopefully given you enough sentence openers to spark your creativity so you can go off and create your own. Again, we want some benefits and limitations to our theories. You're going to tell us what it looks like in the learning environment. So we're going to cover that in the brainstorming session with the ELA team. And you're going to finish your essay by telling us how theories in general, so you've talked about 2 theories, 2 learning modes. You're going to tell us about how theories can be a useful tool for teachers. So how can they help us? And finally, you're going to make some conclusions. So have a look through the rest of the Padlet, everyone. I hope that those 2 tip sheets have helped you out. You've got one here and one here. Any other queries you have, please head straight to your A2 Q&A thread. Your ELA team would love to help you out. All the best.